Obama's policies.
He does not want you to have the self-esteem of getting up and earning and having that title of American. He'd rather you be his slave and be economically dependent upon him.
Joining me from Boynton Beach, Florida, is Congressman Allen West. Congressman, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thanks for joining me today.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
You've heard what I've said about the Eric Holder vote. You voted, along with your colleagues in the House, to hold him in contempt. I want to ask you, not just as a congressman, but as an African-American congressman, if it does not trouble you when people try to use race as an excuse for not complying or following the law in their jobs.
Well, it troubles me immensely because, as you know, I was born and raised in the inner city of Atlanta, Georgia, in the exact same neighborhood where Dr. King was born and raised. My elementary school was right across the street from Ebenezer Baptist Church and around the corner from his home. So when you talk about his dream of someone such as myself being judged by the content of my character, not by the color of my skin, what we find now is that that has been totally reversed. And it is a slap in the face to us. And when you look at the military, where people are judged on their merits, and it's truly a meritocracy. No one does not get promoted because someone says, you know, you're this color or you're that. It's because of incompetence. And once again, we see that emanating from the Department of Justice, not just an incompetence, but also a non-compliance with a subpoena that came from the House of Representatives, which we do have oversight over these government agencies as part of the separation of powers and checks and balances that our system of federalism has established. So it was a very sad day when those individuals walked out of the House of Representatives. And I would add that the chairman of the Congressional Black Caucus was quoted by saying once upon a time, if there was someone else other than President Obama sitting in the White House, they would be marching on the White House. That's not how the America that Dr. King or even Thomas Jefferson envisioned.
You stirred up a little controversy earlier this week, Congressman. Not that it's the first time you've done it, but...
Truth should not be controversial.
Well, it shouldn't be. What you said was, in the context of what you said, totally understandable, but you've taken an enormous amount of heat for saying that you thought that the president wanted to make us his slaves. Explain what you meant by that, and why did the media get so just crazy about it?
Well, first of all, the liberal media operates with a duplicitous hypocrisy that they do not want any to stand up and challenge them. And, of course, when they run into an old fellow like me from down in Georgia that had parents that taught him that a man must stand for something or else he'll fall for anything, I really don't care what they say because we have to educate the American people about what is happening. When you go back and you look at the document that Thomas Jefferson wrote, it talked about establishing individual sovereignty, those unalienable rights that come not from man or government, but come from our Creator. But when you look at what is happening in this country, it is a collective subjugation that is occurring in America. We have now 45% increase of food stamp recipients in this country. We have 7 million more Americans on the poverty rolls. We know that in this past month, the jobs report, you have more people that went on Social Security disability than jobs were created. And so what my point is that we are creating economic dependency, and I call it slavery. It's a different form of slavery. It's not physical, but it can be even worse because it trounces the indomitable entrepreneurial spirit of the United States of America. We don't see our small businesses growing because of onerous tax and regulatory policy. We don't see our small businesses being able to get capital and access to capital because of such things as the Dodd-Frank. So I think that the purpose of this administration under the quote-unquote leadership of President Obama is to have more people wedded to government by subsistence check or even government employment check instead of truly growing this country so that it can live up to the true mandates of Jefferson, which are individual liberty, individual sovereignty, and our rights and freedoms.
You know, I think that the reason people love you is because you're so plain-spoken and you lay it out there. And by the way, it's probably the reason that some of the liberals can't stand you. And that's why we like you a lot on this program. Congressman, we're going to continue with you. We'll talk more with Congressman Allen West. We'll ask him about some of the reaction to his comments and talk about what he said a moment ago. More file. We're back with Congressman Allen West, and so very delighted to have him with us today. There was a comment in the L.A. Times, not that you really care what the L.A. Times has to say, but this was outrageous, and I wanted to just say this is the headline. L.A. Times, America's dirtiest job, justifying Allen West. And it was talking about that for the Republican National Committee chairman to have to try to justify you. What on earth does that mean? And are you insulted that a major American newspaper would try to denigrate you because you were honest with the American people about your stand on dependency?
Yeah, absolutely so. And I really feel that it is, demeaning to me to think that I need some individual to justify me and my existence. Look, I went through 22 years being in the military. I rise to the rank of lieutenant colonel. I have a bachelor's and 2 master's degrees. And for these white liberals to believe that they can have this condescending manner toward black conservatives, that we need to have approval from our quote-unquote, I guess, masters for us to be able to speak. See, that's where the true racism really lies, Governor, is with the right liberals who don't want to see someone such as myself that broke away from their dependency class and is out here and able to possibly contend against them with the policies that they are promoting that is destroying the black community. I know I'm their #1 target, and it just emboldens me to speak out even longer. And the heck with them if they think that someone else needs to approve me and what I stand for.
You were talking earlier, Congressman, about the fact that there are more people now in poverty than we've ever had. You know, we go back to the war on poverty in the mid-'60s when it was launched, and it was supposed to fix poverty. Now we got more people on poverty, and the government is now encouraging people, if they're not on food stamps, to get on food stamps. I want to play just a little clip of a radio spot that our tax dollars are paying for that actually encourages people to sign up. Listen just a little. I want your reaction after it.
SNAP offers help to all kinds of people.
So wait, can I be eligible if I have a job?
Yes, you can if your income's low.
But I have a car.
No problem. You may still qualify.
But I own my own house, so can I still qualify?
Yes, you might.
Okay, so in other words, you can own a car, you can own a house, I guess you can take European vacations, but by golly, we want you to experience the life of Julia and be able to get on food stamps as quickly as you can. Congressman, I know some people really need assistance. I'm not against that when you've got kids who are hungry, or families who have no income coming in, but this seems ridiculous to be begging people to get on food stamps and trying to tell them, doesn't matter what your income, you got a car, you got a home that you own, sign up for government benefits.
Yeah. Well, it's horrible, and when you think about the original intent of the 1964 Food Stamp Act, we've gotten so far away from it. As a matter of fact, Governor, in 2002, we were spending about $20.6 billion a year on food stamps. Today, in 2012, we're spending $75.8 billion on food stamps. And if you look at the farm bill that is being debated in the Senate, 80% of that farm bill is food stamps. So what we see now is something that's become a big business industry. You can use it at convenience stores. You can use it at gas stations. I saw it recently, yesterday, at a 7-Eleven where they take the SNAP program or the EBT cards. So this comes back to, once again, this is an enslavement of the American people, not the empowerment of the American people. And you and I believe in a safety net, but we don't believe that that safety net should become a hammock. We want people to be able to achieve and take advantage of all the opportunities that this country affords, not retard their growth and their development by continuing to make them subservient and collectively subjugated to government.
Well, Congressman,